Second day of the administration of Ohio's new governor, Republican John Kasich. And Governor, thank you so much for coming down to see us today. We appreciate that.
Glad to be here.
You had to make your way through some snow, some ice, some little treacherous conditions on your way down.
Yeah, well, it wasn't too bad once we got here. Coming out my front door, I made my daughters put a sign on the door, "No one go out," because it was just a sheet of ice. And there's a lot of things we're concerned about. We're on top of this with the management agency, with the transportation department. We've talked to the utilities. You want to do 360 on this. But number one, safety. You know, for people around Ohio, don't go out and let your kids touch a bunch of fallen wires. I mean, you know, because they're there and kids want to explore. Secondly, make sure you have somewhere to go in case you lose your power tonight. It's going to be cold. I mean, and then on top of it, you know, when it comes to food, don't eat things you shouldn't be eating that, you know, have spoiled. And it's simple things like that we have to get on top of. And then don't go out if you don't have to.
Sure. And especially your concern right now is northern Ohio, because as you mentioned, down here is not so bad.
Well, the Northwest in particular apparently predicted a lot of snow and 40-mile-an-hour winds. So that's pretty bad. But we don't know what's coming. You know, people are very nervous about tomorrow. So I'm not sure we're through this yet.
All right, let's talk about school calamity days. We've had quite a few already.
I'm for 5.
You're for 5?
Yeah.
No extension of that?
Well, I mean, they reduced it to 3. We have 5. I don't see any reason to do any more than 5. That's been the history, and that's what we ought to do.
Okay. I think that's...
Of course, if you and I were in school, we'd have 30.
We would wish for 30,
yeah,
wouldn't we?
But I think that's an appropriate number.
You are here to talk to the Cincinnati Chamber of Commerce. What can you do to bring more jobs to Ohio, specifically this area of Ohio? I know you have your Jobs Ohio panel.
Position the state for growth. We have to be in a position of where, from a tax perspective, we're low. From a regulatory perspective, it's easy to do business and create jobs. We have to have an aggressiveness inside the administration to work with companies. They have been stunned at the fact that we've been as responsive to their needs, because usually government, you know, things travel at the speed of government. We're making them travel at the speed of business. And then I think on top of it, leverage what you have. I'm going to meet the business community here today. I already know them, but I'm going to meet with Procter & Gamble, Bob McDonald over there, to talk about how do we get suppliers here? How do we work as a team? How do we leverage the things that we do very well here to get more people in? I read a statistic that Cincinnati has lost 40% of its population since 1950. That's a pretty stunning number.
That's a stunning number.
Yes.
So can we turn that around?
We can, but it's going to take the whole community. No more I take care of myself and don't worry about the neighbor. Improve the conditions in the state so people say, I'd like to be in Ohio. When I was a young man, we'd come down here and laugh at people on the other side of the river. Say, oh, they just don't get it over there. Now a lot of our people have moved over there. We need to get them to move back.
Given the state's budget deficit, can state government afford tax relief for individuals and or companies?
Well, if you do not lower the cost of doing business, you'll go nowhere. I mean, if you ask a company, what's the number one factor in terms of locating in Ohio or staying in Ohio or expanding in Ohio, they'll say costs. If you can't meet the costs, they'll flat out leave and go somewhere where they get better costs. So the strategy is prepare the state for growth. Lower cost of doing business, lower cost of creating a job, less regulation, more R&D out of our universities that can help our businesses. These are all getting our best assets in the regions together, using them to attract other businesses, encouraging them to expand. This is all common sense. You know, I've been in business for 10 years, so I get it. Most people in politics, they're professional politicians, and they just don't.
Finally, is there a reason there are not more minorities holding positions in your administration?
No. I mean, look, the strategy that we had is find the best people you can that share your philosophy. And I believe that diversity is a matter of a journey, not a destination. We will have African Americans. You know, I have an man of Asian Indian descent who's one of the 3 people that advise me. I have a history of being able to work with people regardless of party or regardless of race. So we'll get there. Everybody just needs to be cool.
So you're saying best man or woman for the job, no matter what?
And my philosophy, too. You know, you can't, just because somebody is smart doesn't mean they fit. They have to be able to carry out the things I want them to do.
You're not taking any prisoners in this administration, so to speak, are you?
Well, Ohio can't afford to. I mean, when you have a serious problem, you can't ignore it. We have tried to sweep our problems under the rug or kick the can down the road. We have to go. This is our moment. This is the window of opportunity to save our state and create a prosperous, entrepreneurial state. You know, when you look at Procter & Gamble, when you look at, Thomas Edison, when you look at the Wright brothers, our DNA is to believe that we can create and make great things. We've lost that. We got to get the mojo back.
Governor Kasich, we thank you for spending a few minutes with us.